everyone, and welcome to Kitchen Sessions. Let's cook the talk.
Yes.
I'm your host, Sanelisiwe, Mtumane. But before we get into this episode, this is our first episode, so I want you to click that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with all your friends. Don't be scared to leave a comment down below. Thank you.
Yes.
I am not alone. I'm with my good friend, our co-host, Phila Praise. Hi, Phila.
Hi, Sane.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Akai. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Sane has already mentioned, I go by the name of Phila Praise, and this is our first episode. I'm really excited because I love presenting, and I just love being in such an atmosphere where cameras are looking at me, and I'm so nervous, but the show has to go on. So today we are going to kickstart our season with a very beautiful topic. Purpose, because we're young people, we need to know where we're headed to in life. We need to know what we're doing with ourselves, and to help us delve deep and dissect this topic is none other than our beautiful friend Khuzwayo, Londiwe Khuzwayo. Yes! How are you, friend?
I'm great.
I'm so great. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us today.
It is only a pleasure.
I told you not to say a lot now. Okay, so you guys, what's very interesting about Londiwe Khuzwayo is that she's a Christian enthusiast, and also she's one versatile human being. She is a She's a media, a stage, and entrepreneurial personality. Yes. Londi also holds a triple major in psychology, politics, as well as international relations from Africa's best university. We all know what that is. We're not going to mention it. She also has an international relations honors from the University of UNISA, of course. You're very learned, my friend. You're very learned. But what's more interesting about you is your philanthropic work that you do.
Yes.
Londi has developed a project which is called Donate, a book essay campaign, which aims to eradicate levels of illiteracy in marginalized schools in South Africa. But what I love more about you is what you do during your spare time, cooking for your family, and also spending time with us in studio.
Yes.
I really love that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I love your sets. I love you guys. The energy.
We try. Okay, Khuzwayo, let's speak about the fact that you did a triple major, right? You studied psychology, politics, and international relations. But the interesting thing is that you're not actually practicing what you studied.
Not even a tiny bit.
What's the story? What's the juice?
So I like the fact that you guys are talking about purpose, because it's literally just that, right? I went to a Christian Seventh-day Adventist high school. So at that time, I started developing my talents in terms of gifts, spiritual gifts, right? And a lot of people don't know, but if you're in a spiritual environment, you learn your spiritual gifts. But now, by the time then I went on to varsity, it was a different setup, because now I'm not protected anymore. And I had to then redefine myself, know who I am. I'm alone. Who do I want to be? Where am I going? And because I've always had God with me, that's when then I decided that, you know what, as much as I'm here doing 4 years, doing this triple major, about to go to honors, etc., etc., this is not what I feel God wants me to do. It's limiting the greatness that God wants me to do. It is not my destiny.
So you felt like you were not living your purpose when you were doing that?
Not even not living, but studying. What I was studying, I knew that it's not aligned to my purpose.
To your purpose. And then how would you define purpose? And what is your purpose now? But how would you define purpose initially?
Sure. That's the thing. Purpose is English, eh? But, when you guys told me that you're talking about purpose, the first song that keeps coming into my mind is the song, is it Travis Green? Intentional. All things are working for my good. And if you have to go just Google or search the dictionary, purpose, they'll always be maybe talking about God. It will talk about intention. It will talk about a person doing something on purpose, knowing for a reason, with a specific. It's very specific and it's
objective.
It's objective. It has a requirement. So that for me is purpose. So it's anything that is aligned to your objective and destiny.
Okay.
That's really true.
Yeah.
Fine, you're speaking about aligning to your destiny and whatever, having a specific reason. But how do you actually find out what your purpose is? Because I think that's the hardest part.
It is the most, especially as a young person.
Yes.
In fact, not even as a young person. I mean, you guys, if you go to your church, I don't know if you guys ever have programs about spiritual gifts.
Yeah, all the time.
I was like,
all the
I was
time.
in one literally last year, and I was laughing because then they divided us into groups, and I was just like, I already know mine, always know mine, right? And then they always had, because I used to be like a junior church, but out there then at my high school, so we used to then invite pastors because young people used to be like, we don't know what our spiritual gifts are, we don't know what our purpose is, and then we'll do like that whole test, etc. So I already knew mine, you know, and like that's the thing. People will do all these tests and all of that, but for me, it's simple, man. You need to be aligned with God.
That is so true.
You can never know. As I said, it took me up until literally 4th year of varsity to be like, nah, man, I'm not gonna do none of this, you know, because actually God has chosen me to become an employer. To then change the lives of people, go start schools, go do this, empower young people, empower black people, you know. So it's about, you need to know yourself. Before now it gets the spiritual part. Know yourself, know who you are. And Denzel Washington always speaks about you know, when you have that compelling thing inside of you, when you're always feeling like, you know what, I need to do this thing. When you go to sleep at night, when you sleep in something which but that thing is always bothering you.
It has to bother
it's not a bother. It's the Holy Spirit saying, this is what I want you to do.
You're basically being troubled. You know what's funny about what you just said? I'm 2nd year, and she found out her purpose when she was 4th year. I'm wondering whether okay, do I even know what I'm doing right now? Do I even know what? But I love the fact that you mentioned that we have to be aligned with God, because when I was reading my own notes, I was like, oh my goodness, this is really, really beautiful. In a sense that when we speak about God, it simply means that there's a supreme being and there's a supernal God. And as a scientist myself, it is, you know, I've always been taught since I was young that no, you evolved, you're from this. But the fact that we're speaking about God as young people and as growing people shows that we are created intentionally. So we're literally made for a purpose. So we're like made for something. We didn't just, you know, happen, didn't just come from nowhere. No, it just makes things even better. You aligning yourself to God as a young person, it just goes to show that, you know what, you're here for a reason. And that reason, you have a goal, you know, you are put on this earth because you gotta reach a certain target in life, which is really interesting for me.
It's really that simple. I always tell people, you know what, when you get to a point when you don't know anymore, you need to then think of, why did Jesus come on earth? And who was Jesus always connected to? And then we always claim that Jesus is then what our what would I call it, role model. You understand? So if that was the aim, Jesus Christ came specifically, I'm coming to die. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That was his purpose.
That was his purpose on earth. Simply so. Moses taking up the children from Israel. Do you understand what I'm saying? Your Pauls, all of these people, the preachers, everyone had a purpose. Esther had a purpose. So it's simply that. You need to then look at yourself and be like, wherever I'm made from, you know, I'm the son of a daughter or a son of the Lord, why would I then just be here on earth? If people, like babies come out stillborn or pass away at the age of 2 without talking, you here up until 16.
And you think you have
18,
nothing
and you
to
think
do.
you've got nothing to do.
Come on, sister.
Play
Come on, don't play yourself.
You
don't
play.
be that person, I know.
But you know what my problem is with the whole purpose conversation is that why, like with your story, why did it have to take so long for you? Why didn't just like God shine a light on you, on some Londi, this is your purpose from the beginning? Because I feel like now you've made a lot of sacrifices, not really wasted time, but for me it's sort of like feels like you've wasted time.
Like why do you always have to grind? Why can't you just get there?
Funny, because we were actually talking about this with my friend after church this past weekend, and she was talking about how she feels like she has a calling, like God is just like has her life on hold, and her life is pain, and her life is she's an orphan, etc., etc. And I said to her, have you noticed how much pain or healing do you always bring upon orphans? Do you understand what I'm saying? So you think that some things delay and it's a waste of time, but God is actually helping you learn from that. I remember very well, even after varsity I was unemployed. I got to a point where I was forced into starting my organization because I was losing my sanity. But God was like, I want to make you so uncomfortable that as you can see that you're actually supposed to be an entrepreneur. Have those millions and billions because I needed to do A, B, C, D. In that time of my weakness, I discovered myself.
That is really, really, really important.
So it's just basically a way of God showing you good things. like nothing comes easy. You need to be able to learn.
But
some
also,
things
how are you
what-
going to be a motivator?
Yeah.
If
If
your
you don't
purpose
have a
is
story.
to be a speaker, I know for me, I'm going to be a speaker.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use my fame and wealth, whatever it is that God will give me,
Give unto you,
to
exactly.
make sure that people know about the Lord.
Yeah, but as a young person, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm grown up and I can make my own decisions. And while for me, maybe my situation might really be different in the sense that my parents are very liberal. I don't have like conservative parents who are like, you need to do this, you need to do this. Finding your purpose as a young person and sticking to it. How do you live about that? Because it's really hard for any other person in any other home whose parents are really conservative. Like, you do what I say, you do this. How do they stand up without being disobedient and being disrespectful? How do they stand up and say, look, this is what God is saying to me and this is my purpose? We've seen it in many instances. Parents want you to be a doctor, they want you to be a lawyer, engineer, accountant, all of those things. How do you say, my purpose is to be a pastor? I'm not shading pastors, for instance, but how do you say my purpose is to be a pastor, or my purpose is to be a missionary? How did you come about that, Londi?
I remember in other things in terms of wanting to be an entrepreneur and a media personality. And everyone was like, so it was always divided. Like my brothers were like, we know you like the creative, you like business. So I actually didn't disobey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I finished high school, went into varsity. What they saw different about me is my actions.
Okay.
So especially as a black and African child, debating with your parents sometimes doesn't help you. You do what you have to do.
Not even sometimes, it never happens.
No, it never happens. But you need to stand firm. Remember that you're not alone.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit is with you with whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But the best thing in any place, at any age, actually, is your actions.
Yeah.
Let that love and that passion and that consistency and perseverance of whatever you've been chosen to do, continuously do it. And then they will be like, you know what? I actually believe in this. That's what I did for me. I let my purpose and my calling speak for itself.
Yes.
Okay, and would you say you're thriving right now, sorry friend? Would you
okay.
say you're living your purpose fully right now? Before we even go any further into the discussion, would you say you're satisfied?
No.
You're not satisfied.
And no.
Would you say though you feel like you're on the right path in terms of your purpose? Would you say, you know what? I am heading where? I'm heading there, I want to say.
You know when they say in life that you've won because you know? I won because I know.
Yes, girl.
There's people out there who be like, Lonnie, how? Like people always at work or whatever. I'll be like, I'm not here for long. Y'all think I'm clever. They'll be like, we've never met someone who knows. And I'll say, guys, beginning of the year, this is what's going to happen to me. And it happens. And they'll be like, yo, you're so sure. Then that's what I'm saying. So for me right now, I would say I'm on 60%. And even when I've actually lived my purpose, my purpose with what God has shown me is that I will die continuously doing it. Even if
it's a legacy.
Even if my life is ending at 70, up until 70, I will be sitting. Even if I'm sitting in the midst of people and I'm speaking, I'll still be doing it. And even the afterlife, even when I'm not there, afterlife in terms of that, whatever I'm doing, the legacy will continue, and someone else will learn from that purpose.
I love it.
And I think it's also important to emphasize the fact that we need to match purpose with effort. As much as we say that God has a purpose for your life, it doesn't mean that because He knows the plans that He has for you, you just need to chill, sit back and relax. God, you got this. You got this. Do the things. But it's very important to put in effort. Once you've discovered what your purpose is, carry on, put in effort in trying to fulfill it. Right?
Yes. That's critical. I mean, it's like starting a business. Or wanting to study medicine. Like Phila knows. You don't put that ass.
I know.
They're like, yes, man, I go and do this and that and whatnot. In anything that you do, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing like, yes, dream. Always, people like celebrities will be like, you must dream, but open your eyes and act.
I feel like dreams are for people who are sleeping. People who are awake have visions.
You
should have a vision.
Actually,
you should have a vision. Have a dream. Because if you're dreaming, you're sleeping. You need a vision for your life so that you know where you're headed. And I love that. I love the fact that you said you're always sure about it. What I've just derived from what Londi said is the fact that we should also have faith. So our purpose should be accompanied by our faith. And it's funny how you're always sure even before the things even come about, which just reminds me of the verse, like faith is the substance of things hoped for and not things not seen. Yeah, whatever the Bible says there. I love that verse. I love that you mentioned that one so much. But in terms of effort and sacrifice, as Sane has already mentioned, is there like a systematic way of going about it? To say, you know what, step one, if right now, for instance, we're speaking to a young person who's sitting at home and they're like, okay, I have no idea what's going on. Are there like particular steps like, okay, Nana, this is where you start?
As for Nana. Okay. So let me tell you maybe what worked for me. Is that, first of all, I prayed a lot. A couple of years back, I started fasting every second week or every week. At the current moment, I fast once a week. You know, so first of all, the aim is that you can't just wake up and write. It's to ask God to remove your view. Remember that purpose is very selfless. It's never about things, it's about people, other people. What are you going to do in terms of impacting others? It can be in different forms, but it's always about other people, never about you. So remove me of me, show me. Give me the strength, help me to have faith, and let me act on it. That was step one. Number two, you need to then, you know, when they talk about vision boards, you know, they're not joking. If you go to my room right now, you'll see my list with the theme. It's written 2020, year of abundance, John 10 verse 10.
Oh, yes.
Literally, number one, this. Number two, number three. Every year when that ends, I take that off. What I've gone on to do even better now, because you know me and time. So I have a timetable. I'm very African. So I'll then have Monday work on donate a book, and what do I achieve in donate a book? How many more schools and young people's lives do I want to impact on? In media, how much do I want it to be LinkedIn impacting people? How I'm gonna go about it? Who are the potential contacts? What I'm gonna do by the time it's end of March, end of this. You need to be very practical. And unfortunately, young people, they're always like, we don't know. I've seen this all the time, especially Christians. It's like, we don't know. If not practical, you need to be practical. That's the effort part. So for me, pray, then sit down, write. Even if it's in the AMs when it's quiet, the Holy Spirit is there. Write down and declare and say, God, you've shown me this. I'm claiming it now. I'm receiving it. Write, and then from there on, internet is there. What they call Generation Y. What is it? Generation Y, ne? We are that
everything's
type.
like, we're just a click away from everything. That's just how things are. True. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. But one of my favorite quotes comes from Patriarchs and Prophets 509, and it says that the secret of success is the union of divine power with human effort. I think we've already exhausted this point of saying that as a young person, you need to sit at home and you need to work. You need to make sure that everything that you do is accompanied by duty, because God is not going to do everything for you. I've seen people watch this. You mentioned this. Christians will say, no, God will come through. But what are you doing about it? Are you sitting at home expecting Angel Gabriel to fly some things and make things happen? It's really not going to happen. So I think we've really exhausted that point of saying, you know what, as young people, we need to make sure that we encourage ourselves, motivate ourselves, and also mingle our strength that has been given and has been bestowed upon us with the Holy Spirit as well.
True. And I think one of the most important things that we can take from this conversation is that you need to be aligned with God. Have a conversation with God, because He's the one who leads your life, right? And if we read the verse, Jeremiah 29 verse 11, it says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." And this is the effort part that we're speaking about. "Then ye shall call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find me when ye search me with all your heart." So it's very important to seek God, call upon Him, and He will come through for you.
Okay, wonderful. Londi, just tell us a little bit just before we go, and it tells the people to link and subscribe and all that shyness. How is it going with Donate a Book, and how would you love people to participate in that campaign?
So Donate a Book, I've got 2 active schools at the moment. I'm currently working partnered with a young lady, Ndimande. We are looking at a number of schools, so I'm trying to become more rural. You know, so I've always worked with different partners. So every year I try to add on different positions. Even if it's the Department of Education, it's other youth organizations. So there's a specific individual who used to work for NGOs, and there's a lot of connections. That's the one person. So we're looking at your Mansonville, Krugersdorp, or just outside of those. So that's the project. So every year, I've just told myself that I'm going to start a library in a school in those marginalized areas. So that's what's going. In terms of participation, I need books. Primary school and high school books. I really do need that. Even if it's old shelves, anything that can help young people, you know. I think, but this year that I'm making it even bigger, it's besides the literacy program, but I'm partnering up with people that can donate uniform, school bags, you know, sports equipment, etc., etc. So if you know of anyone or if you have any of that, I would really appreciate that. Please contact me. I'm there on social media platforms, and yeah.
We'll put her handles somewhere on the screen.
The pressure.
I don't want people to contact you.
Yes, they have to find you.
They do.
But that's such a great job. We thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
That was so cool, man.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, we did it. I'm so excited.
Thank you to you too as well, Phila.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, for tuning in. If you have any questions, any comments, please drop them down in the comment section below. And don't forget again to subscribe, to like, share, and to comment.
Yes.
But that's it for our first episode of Kitchen Session. We'll see you in the second episode. Bye.
I'm so excited.